topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart. Inarticulate speech, inarticulate speech of the heart.
Hello and welcome to It's Your Voice, the show that hosts enriching conversations in diversity. My name is Bahia Yaksan. I'm a diversity educator and a core alignment coach, which means I train and coach people to proactively recognize patterns of bias, learn how to step out of them, and cultivate new patterns of thought and behavior that are far more inclusive for everyone, and just make the world a kinder place. I'm so excited. Today we have a show that's called Davis Hootenanny, Lifting Voices of People with Disabilities Through Music. But before we bring out our guests, I want to thank our sponsors. This program is brought to you by the City of Davis Arts and Cultural Affairs Program and the California Creative Corps, a pilot program funded by the City of Sacramento's Office of Arts and Culture and the California Arts Council, a state agency, as an engagement campaign designed to increase public awareness about issues of social justice, climate resiliency, and more. The Creative Corps program, backed by Governor Gavin Newsom and the state legislature, looks to increase public awareness on topics such as health and safety, water and energy conservation, climate mitigation, emergency preparedness, social justice, and civic and community engagement. Thanks again to our sponsors. I want to also thank our ASL interpreter, Kenneth Arnold. Thank you for being here today. And now I'll introduce our guests. Pamela Cohen. Please bring Pamela out. Pamela Cohen is the founder, former executive director, and current board chair of Purple Tree Cafe. Purple Tree is a nonprofit that provides community-based employment for people with disabilities at our Sacramento Cafe and community events in Davis, and brings together people with and without disabilities through music, art, and food. Pam is also the former co-leader of the Team Davis Singers, a disability inclusive music group operated through Davis's Special Olympics organization. That is so awesome. Until recently, Pam's day job was as an attorney and mediator in the areas of disability rights and discrimination law. She moved to Washington, D.C. area in January of 2024 to be closer to her children, and is now the program director at Main Street Connect, a cutting-edge community center for people with disabilities in Rockville, Maryland. Thank you for being here. And Kelsey Fortune, thank you also for being here. Kelsey Fortune is the Associate Director and Manager at Purple Tree Cafe. She joined the team at Purple Tree in 2019, and the warmth and kindness they found in the disability community has changed their life. Music has always been important to them, so they are happy to carry on the Team Davis Singers and Hootenannies. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Wow, exciting bios. I have so many questions, but why don't you start by filling us in, like, who thought of this idea and how how much did it take to pull it off and keep it going?
Well, I can start with the background. So Purple Tree cafe, I founded, we started thinking about it in about 2012, but I was living in Palo Alto at the time, and then we moved, so it took a while to actually get it started. So it actually started in operations in 2018 in Davis. And the mission has always been to both employ people with disabilities and bring people with and without disabilities together through music. And that's because I love music and I've always been a singer and love the coffee house kind of environment. So the idea originally was that we would have a space where we could have a coffee house kind of situation where we had people with disabilities making food and serving food and eating food. And then all of a sudden the singing would start, right? But the real estate situation didn't allow us to just rent or buy a place and open a cafe. So we started as a farmer's market stand, and now we have a small cafe at the Mind Institute in Sacramento as well, which Kelsey can tell you more about. But we then had to do the music on the side. So we started with there's a small restaurant called Three Ladies Cafe in downtown Davis that hosted our events right before the pandemic, right about the time Kelsey started with us. We had a few events before the pandemic, which were wonderful. And then, of course, the pandemic shut them down and we had to regroup, and we can tell you a little bit about what happened then. And then we came back to Delta Venus Restaurant, which is a larger venue in Davis, and here we are.
Nice. So it was an idea you had in your mind for a while. Often how ideas grow, they take time to manifest.
Yeah, and it morphed quite a bit from the original vision.
Yeah, it's just so beautiful that you found a way to make it happen. You just adapted, right, to what was possible. And
that's right. Thank you.
And we'll let listeners and viewers know in a little while we'll play one of the songs, and then another one that was sort of a joint song, so they'll get a taste. So, and you were an attorney, or you still are an attorney?
Technically, I am. I'm not practicing anymore. I started out as a mental health attorney, and then I kind of went into disability rights, discrimination law, and for the last 4 or 5 years, I was a mediator with the California Civil Rights Department, and then for a very brief time, the Washington, D.C. Office of Human Rights. And then I got the opportunity to be the program director at this amazing community center. So I just switched careers, and I'm getting to do what I love as a job.
Wonderful. And Kelsey, tell us about how you found out about Purple Tree and your involvement with Hootenanny. And
yeah, so like Pam, I just have a side love of music. I found Purple Tree the time where I was working on my PhD in economics at UC Davis, and I needed to find something that was a little bit more tangible and a little bit more meaningful in my community, within my community. And so I went looking for nonprofits that needed help, and one of the first ones I found was Purple Tree. And Pam immediately was like, yes, help me do this. Help me keep doing this. You know, I want more of all of the things that we're doing. And I was like, let's do more. And so, you know, I got to learn all of the awesome things that Pam started, and now, you know, it allowed Pam to be able to move on to doing similarly awesome things on the East Coast. And I get to carry on the legacy here in Davis and now in Sacramento.
Well, what can you tell us about the Sacramento site?
Yeah, so our Sacramento Cafe is awesome. It is up on the second floor of the Mind Institute. The Mind Institute is a clinical and research center that focuses on neurodevelopmental disabilities. And so they have this space that's within their building, And they really wanted it to be run by people with disabilities, so that, if someone is at a clinic getting a diagnosis for the first time for themselves or a child, they could potentially see someone with a similar diagnosis having gainful, meaningful employment, something that might feel like a really big stretch in that moment for them. So just being able to offer some hope, and a different perspective than they might be feeling in that moment is really huge. It's also just a super friendly place to do business for our employees, because the majority of our customers are people who work in the disability community. And so it makes for a fantastic environment for training people who may not have had much employment experience in the past.
Wow, that's so encouraging. It's just such a beautiful partnering.
Absolutely. Yeah. We wouldn't have a brick and mortar if it weren't for the Mind Institute, the partnership with them to create this Purple Tree Cafe within their space.
Gosh, what is it? How often is it open? Do you have enough employees to keep it
we have
open?
The opposite problem is we have a wait list all the time for employment at Purple Tree.
I see.
There just are not enough opportunities available to people with disabilities to have that meaningful employment and that successful experience. So right now we're open Monday through Thursday in the mornings from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to be in the space, and having our own space just allows us to do so much more than we can when we're our mobile operation in Davis, where we have to bring everything with us if we want to serve it and bring everything back. And it's lovely to not have to bring everything with us every single time.
So in Davis, it's still mobile. There's not a...
Yeah, so in Davis, we're still at the farmers market on Saturdays, which is absolutely lovely. Another fantastic place to do business. And yep, on those Saturdays, we bring out our bicycle cart and serve drinks and vegan baked goods to all the customers there. But yep, requires us to trek everything out there every time. Which is no small feat.
No, it's really not. Well, let me ask you a question. If there's anyone listening or watching, is there a way they can contact you if they have a brilliant idea of a potential place in Davis?
That would be amazing. It certainly is, a continuing dream to someday have a place in Davis of our own. And yeah, absolutely. Our website, Purple Tree Cafe, has a contact form on it that goes directly to myself and our current executive director, Jason, who's been with us for a little over a year now.
It's just Purple Tree Cafe?
purpletreecafe.org. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to see if our engineer can make a banner for people who can see it and read it. purpletreecafe.org. That's wonderful, because that seems like surely that could happen. We have more eyes out there looking, and I'm sure there are people who would love to partner and contact you.
Yeah, the cost of doing business in Davis is just so high. Everything is incredibly expensive in our little town. Yeah.
But we would love to have a place where we could do the food and the music at the same time, which was the original vision, and that would be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're very fortunate to have Lee and Delta Venus as a partner for hosting our music events, but it would be so cool to have it out on our own patio someday. That is the one downside to cafe at the Mind Institute, is that we are literally inside people's workplace, and it's not a place where we can really host events, which is too bad. But it's a step toward, it's a step toward offering so much more employment for people with disabilities, and a step toward, showing that we can run a cafe, an everyday, an all week business, and hopefully that will lead toward more opportunities for us to do that elsewhere.
And may I ask how many people you have employed now, and how many people are on the waiting list to be employed in both locations?
So right now our total employment is just under 20 people. And our wait list is about the same. It's right around 20 at the moment. And it continues to grow as, we have seen a lot more media coverage, and we're reaching a whole new population of people with disabilities now that we're in Sacramento and not just in Davis. Right now, I think since we opened, I've averaged someone reaching out to us about employment almost once a week. A new person will reach out, and it is a bit heartbreaking to have to tell everyone that I can add you to the wait list. Yeah.
It says something about the need that since the very first day when we were an unknown farmers market stand, we've never had to advertise for employees. We've always had more people who wanted to work for us than we could absorb.
And do you not have an office front or a place where people come at all? Okay, we must make this happen.
We have a picnic bench. We have a picnic bench outside of a church.
Okay. Well, and so yeah, anybody with disabilities who might be hearing this or seeing this could also contact you through the purpletreecafe.org who might be interested. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, what else do you want to know about the background or history? What else should we know about it? I guess I can go back to Pamela for that question.
Hootenanny in particular. I think, because of the show that we're on, I just want to emphasize how wonderful it is to be talking on a show that's about diversity, because, as a civil rights attorney, I've been in a lot of diversity spaces, and very often disability gets lost in that conversation. And so I was really happy to hear from you. And so just want to flag that and thank you for thinking of us. I'm glad that we have the latest Team Davis Singer song to show, because it does have pictures of the Hootenanny, and it's hard to describe the atmosphere unless you're there. It's just very, very joyful, and the format of it is that the Team Davis Singers, which is this group that we run through the Special Olympics organization, Team Davis in Davis. The singing group, my partner and I started a while ago, and the singers sing a few songs at the beginning of the Hootenanny, and then there's an open mic. And the open mic is mostly Team Davis singers and their friends, but not exclusively, and we're trying to get more of the community to come and be in the open mic. We've extended the whole event from 2 hours to 3 hours this year. So we have a full hour and a half for the open mic. So we want to encourage people to come. And we want it to be as integrated an environment as possible. But the Team Davis singers and their families and everybody who comes just loves the attention. They love the performance. They are so supportive of each other and everyone who gets up there to sing. It's really wonderful. And we have had people walk by, because it's an outdoor event. We've had people walk by and just come up to us and say, like, "What is this?" This is the happiest I've ever seen.
That's wonderful. Well, yeah, the video. So it actually is a good time. If I'll give our engineer a minute to key up
I
the
should probably,
song.
can I set
And
up the video before we play it a little bit?
yeah. Well, I
Yeah, let me
guess
just
we can do
explain
it.
what this is, the What We Miss About Us song. So Dave Nachmanoff is a kind of a very well-known musician, singer, songwriter who is a local and a friend of ours, and he does singer-songwriter workshops. And when the Hootenanny, I should have said up front, is funded by the Davis Arts and Cultural Affairs Fund, and we're very grateful for them. And so when the pandemic abruptly stopped all of our events, I asked them, what am I going to do with this money? Can we use it to write songs? And they said yes. And so Dave did workshops on Zoom with us, and everybody learned the song and recorded themselves in their own homes, with their phones. And then a wonderful producer friend of his, Ben Johnston, put it together. That was the Davis Bike song, which you may be able to play, I'm not sure, which is about Davis. And then we just kept that going after we went back to events. We kept the songwriting and the music videos going. So we had 2 more. And then this is the 4th one. It's What Will You Miss About Us? The first workshop for that song coincidentally happened to coincide with the day that Josh and I were telling the Team Davis singers that we were moving to DC to be closer to my family. And so the song ended up being about missing people. So that's the setup for that.
Well, I know you have been very missed, but let me just let the listeners and viewers know we're going to have 2 songs, and we'll just have picture up in between, and we're ready to roll.
We're Saturday family, but you're going away. We're happy for you, though we wish you would stay close to your children, but the East Coast is far. Just keep us in mind wherever you are. What will you miss about us? We'll miss a lot about you. When you come back to see us, you'll be amazed at what we can do. We're a little bit silly, we're not all the same. You'll remember our laughter, remember our names, sharing our news and singing on Zoom. Whether or not we're singing it too. What will you miss about us? We'll miss a lot about you. When you come back to see us, you'll be amazed at what we can do. We'll be California dreaming when the blizzard's blowing through. We'll be basking in the sunshine, but we'll still be missing you. This thing of beauty will continue to grow. We'll put in our power and put on a show, sharing our joy, singing the blues. The fun will continue as chaos ensues. What will you miss about us? We'll miss a lot about you. When you come back to see us, you'll be amazed at what we can do. What we can do. do. What we can do.
Before Fun Trip, I had tried a bunch of
The California Creative Corps. While we're waiting for the next song to play, that was adorable. And anybody who can just, gosh, tears of joy come to my eyes looking at those photographs.
Who makes it like Davis?
Traveling fast through Central Park on my shiny new red bike. By myself or with my friends and my brother on his trike. I like to ride around Davis. It's easy because it's flat. I like to ride around Davis, 'cause Davis is where it's at. To the farmer's market, see my friends at Purple Tree. Gold shot at the park side is where I want to be. I like to ride around Davis. It's easy because it's flat. I like to ride around Davis, 'cause Davis is where it's at. It's quiet in the summer, busy in the fall, rainy in the winter, spring is best of all. To ride around Davis, it's easy because it's flat. I like to ride around Davis, 'cause Davis is where it's at. All year round we have our sports and Hootenanny too. Garden Good, our park, Team Davis helps us through. I like to ride around Davis. It's easy because it's flat. I like to ride around Davis, 'cause Davis is where it's at. 'Cause Davis is where it's at.
Oh my gosh. That was wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Knowing Davis, my favorite line is, "It's easy because it's flat." Oh my gosh, that's just incredible. Such a feeling of community that just comes off the screen and, off the notes.
We've had people at Hootenanny who we didn't even know singing that song.
Where did the name Hootenanny come from? Like, why was that chosen?
So a friend of mine named Jim Walsh, who's a big musician in the St. Paul, Minneapolis area, has a Hootenanny. I've never been out there to see it, but I love the idea of it. It's really more of like a round table, a round robin kind of music thing, as I understand it. But it's an old-fashioned term for like a folk music jam session, basically. It has little to do with what we actually do, but I just loved the name and I just wanted to use it. And everyone was very skeptical when I came up with it. They're either nobody's going to understand what it means or everyone's going to think it's the wrong thing. But I think it stuck pretty well.
Yeah, we certainly couldn't change it if we wanted to.
Well, Kelsey, now you're the lead, right, in the area,
Yeah,
the local
yeah.
lead.
So now I get to do the Team Davis Singers with my friend and coworker Jacob, who also works at Purple Tree and has been pulled into the disability community to join this lovely space. So we get to lead the Team Davis Singers, and as the associate director of Purple Tree, I also get to create the Hootenannies now, and it's a ton of fun.
I think we need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So our interpretation, ASL interpretation, can keep pace.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about the Hootenannies is bringing in new musicians to the space. Pam spoke about the open mic. That's the first half. Then we host a featured performer in the second half, and expanding that to include more local artists, so that they are exposed to our community has been an absolute joy. I think once you see a Hootenanny, you can't not want to be a part of the event.
How often are the events possible in Davis?
So this year we had to cancel one, unfortunately. This year we'll have 5 total, and I'm hoping that we can just continue to expand to offer more and more of these events. The dream would be to do one every single month, but those summer months can be a little too hot for outdoor events, and those winter months can be a little too unpredictable with rain to host them always. But we're certainly working toward doing this even more often.
Thank you. I want to ask both of you, but we'll start with Pam. What can you tell us that will increase my awareness, the public awareness, the listeners' awareness of what we keep missing about people with disability, about the invisibility of disability, about the marginalization of people from this population, about the diversity? But if you can just spend a few minutes reminding us how we could be more aware and conscientious and inclusive, that would be awesome.
That's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking it. I think in terms of employment, everyone who is an employee somewhere has strengths and weaknesses and preferences and dislikes. And we're all, if we're lucky, in jobs that play to our strengths and challenge us without making us uncomfortable, or too uncomfortable anyway. That's the goal for everyone in work. People with disabilities are just the same. They just may have different things that they do well and don't do well. And so people with disabilities can be the absolute most enthusiastic and loyal and pleasant people that you'll ever have work with you, because they have faced often, I don't want to paint too broad a brush ever, but they often have faced such strong barriers to employment that they are grateful, very grateful to be working. And they just have a different perspective on the world. They also often have had challenges in their lives that have caused them to become resourceful and brave and diligent And that also comes out in their work. So I just want to put in that plug and try to encourage everyone to try to look at everyone for who they are, for the whole person.
Thank
Kelsey,
you for
you have
that.
anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think one of the most powerful things for me about being a part of Purple Tree and the disability community was recognizing myself as a person with disabilities for the first time, and understanding that the support and accommodations that I'm providing to my coworkers, I deserve those things as well in my life around my disabilities. And while it may not be readily apparent that I have disabilities, I do. And those do make me strong in different ways and create barriers for me in other ways. And recognizing myself as a part of this community was just lifted a huge weight off of my shoulders, of feeling like all of those the difficulties that I was having were my fault rather than something that I should be able to carry forward as a community and deserve that support.
Oh gosh, thank you for sharing something on such a personal note. I really appreciate that. And that's something that is, I think, really important for us to hear, that someone can actually think it's their fault, and how incredibly important it is to learn that it's not, and to find support and to find community. Yeah, I mean, can you say more about that? That's just so significant. Anything else you want to say about it? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
I
just want this
think
for everybody.
that's the thing, is regardless of ability, everyone deserves to feel that support and that sense of community and that sense of, you know, if I'm struggling, I can ask for help and I should be given help. And that I'm not going to be good at all things. And when I'm struggling, I deserve support.
Absolutely.
it's something that we get to talk about, you know, as people working in the disability community. We talk all the time about, you know, encouraging our employees to ask for help and also being readily available to offer support and accommodation. It's not something that gets talked about enough outside of the disability community. I think we could all learn from that.
Yeah, I think this carries forward into sort of apart from talking about people with disabilities as well. You know, as you both mentioned, some people have invisible disabilities and you don't know from looking at them or talking to them that they have a disability. And as a lawyer, I know there are strict definitions of what's a disability for legal context, and I spent most of my career worrying about those. But in reality, in the real world, I don't think there's a bright line between someone with a disability and someone without. It's just that the law has had to define them for practical purposes. But, you know, I can't read a map to save my life. You know, is that a disability? Not legally, but you don't want me, you know, directing your road trip, navigating your road trip. You know, I think that we all have things either that you can or can't see about us that are things that we, you know, wish we could do better. And working with people with disabilities has really helped me look at other people and myself and say, this is just who I am, or this is just who this person is. And you don't know what people are going through ever. So if someone does something you don't like, maybe think about, you know, you don't know what's going on with that person. whether it's called a disability or not. It's human nature.
That's such a good point. Whether it's like today is off for them or every day is off for them. It's just such a good reminder to just step back and take a deep breath and be grateful for just being here. And another thing that came to my mind when Kelsey was talking about support, it made me think of a Purple Tree, I imagine, is also a resource for people who work for other organizations who have the insight and the, the confidence and the knowledge to hire people with disabilities as well. Like I'm thinking about, wow, that could be an isolation if you're the only person, whether it's invisible or visible, with a disability working at, let's say, a grocery store or a restaurant, anywhere, an office. How isolating that must be if you're the only person, and how much we all need to, colleagues to like lean on and say, oh, wow, how was your day? Or, well, what was hard for you? Or, how you doing? And is Purple Tree like, do you have people who know that they could call or contact you for that reason too, even if they're not a part of a Hootenanny or a regular, I don't know if you have like what you would call membership, but how can we help spread the word?
It's an interesting idea. Where I work now is a membership organization, and so I really haven't thought about that before. Purple Tree is an employer, but the Hootenanny, it's not a membership, but it's a community event that anybody can participate in. And Team Davis is the group that we do the singers through, and that is something that people with disabilities and their families in Davis should know about, which is an amazing nonprofit founded and led by the amazing Robin Dewey, whose son is one of our employees actually, and one of our singers too. And she has made this amazing organization, almost all volunteer run, which is a lot of Special Olympic sports, and then some other sports and nutrition and art and our music group. And so there's a big overlap between those two communities. And
Nice.
So that's where we sort of have most of our contacts in the community. It's not just Purple Tree, it's the whole Team Davis community.
That's wonderful. And are they easy to find? Like, do they have a website?
It's team-davis, I think, .org.
Okay.
Is that right, Kelsey?
Yes, that's correct. team-davis.org.
Okay. Another great resource. Well, Kelsey, looks like you were about to say something. I just want to let y'all know we have about 5 minutes. I want to give you each a time to say like a closing thought or anything else you would like to share today.
I think, the thing I would really like to share is that we have some upcoming events. We have a Hootenanny scheduled for October 26th is the next one. So just a month away. And October is a special month for us. It's National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And so we'll be having some other disability focused organizations available to chat with people at this event as well. So music and education all in one.
And where will it be, and the time frame for people who are listening and can put October 26th on their calendar for.
Oops, Leslie seems to be frozen, but I can fill in. It's at Delta of Venus restaurant in downtown Davis.
It's a great venue for community events.
They have a lot of music there, and Lee, the owner, has been amazing with us.
Yeah, it's a very supportive person. So many great causes. Okay, so Delta Venus, October 26th. So it'd be evening, afternoon,
What time
evening.
does it start, Kelsey? Oh shoot, she's frozen.
Oh, looks like she's still frozen. I'm glad she got to tell us about this in case we don't.
I'm
case
not
she doesn't
100% sure about the time, so we'll have
Okay.
to wait till she gets back.
We can figure that out.
But we are also at the Davis Farmers Market every Saturday morning. Well, they're open until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And and I want to encourage everybody to walk by and check out our food and check out the Hootenannies. And I'll just say also that we're starting our end of year fundraising campaign pretty soon. And the Mind Institute Cafe has turned out to be a very expensive proposition, more than we were hoping it would be. So we would be welcome for any kind of donations that anyone.
How do people donate?
You can
just
go to
your
our
website.
website. There's a donate button. Yeah.
Okay. And yes, at the Davis Farmers.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask Kelsey what time the Hootenanny starts.
On October 26th. I'll just repeat Davis Farmers Market Saturday mornings from 9 to 1. You can find Purple Tree Cafe, and you make they make baked goods, right?
Vegan baked goods and drinks.
Yeah, looks like quite a wonderful list.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both so much. Anything else before we say thank you to everyone?
Ahia, thank you so much for inviting us. It was a wonderful conversation, and we're grateful to be here.
Well, thank you so much for this brainchild. What a great model. I don't know if this is happening in other cities, other states, other countries, but what a beautiful model. And yeah, thank you for creating it and supporting it. Even though you had to move to the East Coast, I know a lot of people were sad about that, and you're still very missed. But obviously, everything is in good hands with Kelsey.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll thank Kelsey, who had to leave already, and Pamela Cohen, and our wonderful ASL interpreter, Kenneth Arnold. Thank you, Kenneth. I learn from Kenneth every week. Kelsey, thank you for being a guest today. It's wonderful having you on, and great to meet you on the air, and we'll hopefully have some people out there October 26th. And I want to thank our engineer, Rebel, and our producer, Dean Piper, and remind everyone to please tune in to It's Your Voice every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Talk 4 TV or It's Your Voice, w4cy.com radio, and we also run YouTube channel. And may we all have enriching conversations in diversity this week. Thank you so much.
Inarticulate speech, you're the heart.